Greetings all. So today me and my team are going to present the human resource policies and practices of UAE. Before commencing the section, I would like to show an ad of Dubai. UAE became so powerful and rich. As management student, we have lots of studies about their strategy. It started with the vision of their leader, Haseena Said bin Sultan Al Nahyan. He was the first president of the United Arab Emirates and is recognized as the father of the nation. In December 1971, the UAE became a federation of 6 emirates: Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Sharjah, Ajman, Al Quwain and Fujairah. 7th Emirate Ras Al Khaimah joined the federation in 1972. The capital city, Abu Dhabi, located the largest and wealthiest of the 7th Emirates. The current president of the UAE, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, and the ruler of Dubai, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, is the vice president of UAE. Before oil was discovered in 1915s, the UAE economy was dependent on the fishing and the declining pearl industry. But since oil export began in 1962, the country's society and economy have been transformed. The UAE economy is heavily reliant on revenues from petroleum and natural gas, especially in Abu Dhabi. In 2009, more than 85% of the UAE economy was based on the oil exports. The UAE has diversified and has become a trading and tourism hub. What they did was that they invested money from oil sector to non-oil sector. Then they created a business ecosystem. So the people started to come in the UAE and they started to live in the UAE. They started to spend in the UAE. Today, tourism is one of the bigger non-oil sources of revenue in the UAE. A massive construction boom and expanding manufacturing base and a thriving service sector are the helping the UAE diversify its economy. Nationwide, there is currently $315 billion worth of active construction project going on. Now let's look into how does the recruitment process in UAE work. First step is that a computer program will scan your CV that you submitted to the company. The program scans your CV for keywords. Typically, the words and phrases it's looking for are those in job description. Next, an HR representative go through the CVs flagged by the scanning program and picks up one that fit best with the position and requirement. Then the representative call each chosen applicant for a short phone interview. Once the HR representative has discussed each candidate's qualification with the hiring manager, the manager chooses the candidate which one is bring for a face-to-face interview. After the first round of interview, the hiring manager generally narrow the field of candidate to 2 or 3. Those candidates are asked back for a second interview. Once the interview are completed, manager who have been involved in the interview will compare their impression of each applicant and then final choice is made. And the HR representative make an offer to the selected candidate. After the salary negotiation, the final stage is signing contract.
I would like to share about the employment guidelines and policies in UAE. Guidelines are general recommendations, they are not mandatory or required. Employees who don't follow guidelines usually don't have anything happen to them discipline-wise. Each and every organization has their own ethics and their own managerial functions for the benefit of that organization. And also every organization are following rules and regulations, so the employee should follow the rules and regulations. Policies are formalized requirements that apply to a specific area or task, such as recruitment policy, internet and email policy, health and safety policy, and the discrimination policy and harassment. The next one is issuance. The issuance, which means the company is supplying or distributing anything to employees for the company purpose, such as vehicles or electronic gadgets. The next one is the manpower policy. Manpower policy means a finite number of employees that required for a running of an organization. Here in UAE and other Gulf countries provide manpower consultants in order to comprehensive manpower consultancy solution with the greatest efficiency. Probationary period. The duration of probationary period in UAE is around 100 days. UAE is committed to ensuring that both new employees and the UAE are able to evaluate each other during the initial employment period. During the probationary period, the new hire's immediate supervisor shall meet with the employee on a regular basis to discuss performance. The performance concerned will be made in writing to the employees. Employee may be terminated by the UAE at any time during the probationary period.
Going to explain the training and development in UAE. In UAE, there are different kinds of training and career development practices are providing to employees, such as safety training, IT policy complaints, factory process training, interpersonal skill development, office ergonomics, and equipment training. 82% of UAE companies have a formal process for assessing their employees' training needs. 86% of organizations deliver job-specific training programs, 67% deliver general management programs, and 95% deliver programs that focus on skills development. In UAE, initially they give safety trainings to the employees on precautionary process and procedures, which means when an employee joins in an organization, they get a safety training initially. IT trainings, there are some do's and don'ts that have to follow by the companies to ensure their safety. That is, in the sense, the employees get the training that what are the things to do and what are the things that not to do. For example, in a company, there is some rules and regulations for using office computers. There is only permission to use workplace functions rather than personal use. Every companies provide interpersonal training to the employees, which means an employee gets a training that how to behave in the organization. In factory-based companies, they provide training related to equipment knowledge. This training is provided to the employees who are factory-based workers or who handle the equipment activities. Policies on drug restrictions. The UAE has an absolute zero tolerance policy against drugs, which means any employee do any unethical activities in workplace is strictly punishable in UAE. In UAE, only prescribed drugs will allow in the workplace, but in exceptional case there is an allowance to use restricted drugs. A violation by any employee or contractor shall result in dismissal and prohibition from company premises. In UAE, there is strictly prohibited the restricted drugs. If anyone perform the offensive activity with the drugs, they will punish them without any consideration. The use, sale, purchase, transfer or possession of any illegal drug or alcohol by any employee or contractor while on company is prohibited.
Today I am going to discuss with you compensation policies in UAE. Compensation policies in UAE is 4 types. First one is base pay, incentive pay, employee benefit and time off. First one is base pay. Base pay is nothing but the company will provide to their employees hourly pay or salary to their particular job. Then is incentive pay. Incentive pay is nothing but it's a financial rewards is help to encourage their employees. For example, referral compensation, etc. Then known is employee benefit. Employee benefit is the company will provide above from their salaries like health insurance, life insurance, phone allowances, etc. Then salary. Salary paid in UAE are tax-free. Salaries are vary widely on Dubai depending on their qualification and regulation skills. No minimum wage rate or standardized salaries. Salaries also vary widely depending on nationality, locations, history and other random factors. Working hours UAE labor law, the minimum prescribed working hours for an adult employee is 8 hours daily or 48 hours per week. However, the working hours may be increased to 9 hours per day in the persons developed in traders' hotels. Then family trip. The company, according to company's rules and policies, the company will provide to their families allowing annual family trip. Then is visa allowances. The company will provide to only their employees who is under a limited contract. The same way the company will provide to their family visa to their families if they are in unlimited contract.
IHRD, International Human Resource Development, brings a greater learning experience. As I am a passionate person in HR, it's my privilege to represent here, Dubai. I have been participated as one among the panelists and I handle the topic of nature of work life in Dubai and employee benefits. It's an amazing to gain much more knowledge about UAE. They built their empire and be related towards the globe. On the topic of nature of work life in Dubai, although UAE is the most diversified economy in the GCC, to get work the research showed that 75% of the UAE workforce said achieving a good work life. There will be 40 to 48 hours an employee has to work in a week. The scheduled time starts from 9 to 6. Actually, they were working 24 into 7. They were so committed to their jobs. There is no such difference like summer and winter. During the month of Holy Ramadan, 6 hours the working time to be limited, but some organization provided it for only Muslims. By the year of 2022, they were adopted Western work culture as Monday to Friday as working days and Friday will be holiday for Muslim community. As I said, Dubai is an hub that it connects with all the parts of the world. There are lots of people working in UAE as full-time, part-time, seasonal and temporary. UAE is growing so widely and generating huge job opportunities like in the sector of construction, shipments and cargoes, petroleum, oil and gas, healthcare, retail sector, aviation industry and service industry. We want to work in UAE, we have to strictly follow the rules and regulations what UAE brings. Let's see what are the rules and regulations as mandatory. Not allowed to touch anybody without their permission, not allowed to making indecent gestures, not allowed to taking pictures of others without their permission, disrespecting any religion, no indecent clothings are allowed in UAE. They were very strict to these rules and regulations. Next, let's see what are the employee benefits we have while working in UAE. Health insurance, 30 days of vacation per annum, airfare for a round trip to your home country. Apart from this, you can have access to housing allowance, salary bonuses, flexible working hours and allowance for the further educations. High quality of life, tax-free nation, gratuity benefits. Here it's a major points to discuss. UAE is a tax-free nation. How much we earn from UAE, we can transfer the money to anywhere on the globe. That's been the major advantage that an employee can enjoy. Like comparing with other countries, take it as an example, New Zealand. New Zealand is the country they were charging 39% as to pay tax over there. So in UAE, you can enjoy with what you earn. They also promote more in tourism and branding there. Thank you.
Here I am going to explain the general HRM policies and practices in UAE. So in UAE, the HRM providing many significant role. So they are providing two kinds of HR practices. One is strategic HR and another one is transactional HR. Strategic HR in the sense it is providing more importance and supporting the managers in a way that they are more focusing in the company's business, long-term business goals and outcomes. And in transactional HR services providing, they are more focusing and handling the essential administrative functions. Transactional HR is essentially handling the day-to-day administrative functions such as recruiting, processing new employees into the organization, and providing benefits and compensation to the employees and other workplace administrative functions. And in UAE, the HR department is more focusing not only the particular HR department, they are all responsible and they are all monitoring and evaluating the whole department in that organization. And the HR director are the final responsibility for promoting and all the workplace activities handling that. They are the utmost responsible person. And coming to the performance appraisal in UAE organization, they are more focusing and they are providing 360-degree appraisal, which means they are providing more feedback from subordinates, peers, management, and all kinds of activities. Coming to the performance appraisal in most companies, they are providing all the companies have their own corporate accounts. So in that corporate account, all the employees are logging and connected to that particular HR, and they are all the HR are seeking and monitoring each employee's works, and if any other employees have pending works, not only the condition of the works, they are mainly showing the duration of that particular work, whether the employee is having how many days take that particular employee in order to complete that particular work. And coming to the safety, they are more focusing and very well aware about the safety measures in the organization. So for example, in oil and gas industry, they are working in that kind of atmosphere. There is the chance for forming and spreading the combustible and flammable and toxic substance of gases. So in all employees, they are assigning some kind of gas detectors in their belt. So in that, the gas detector will beep if any kind of gas spreading in that surrounding. So these are the safety measures they are very well aware and handling and doing in that organization. So coming to the attire, they are mainly focusing and they are providing more importance to their attire. So the attire should be well groomed and personal appearance to be prim and proper and clean and tidy. And coming to the termination of the in UAE organization, termination may happen due to any kind of unethical activities or any offensive performance that doing in any particular employee in that organization. And there are two types of termination. One is involuntary termination and other is voluntary termination. Involuntary termination is happening due to the separation of the employees based on any kind of unethical activities, or they are more taking any unkind of leaves. So that's the happening in the involuntary termination. And other voluntary termination is happen due to any kind of disability of doing the particular job, or death, or happening any kind of illegal activities. So the termination also caused. So this is all about the things regarding the human resource development in UAE organization. Thank you.